Warning, the following podcast is rated TV 14 or E for explicit. Viewers' discretion is advised.
From broadcaster, that one's hit to center field and deep. This one's way back there, and it's gone! Lazar, an empty net chance. Lazar scores! Horford for three. He got it! Celtics up by 3. Al Horford, timeout Golden State.
To a podcaster?
How do you fire a coach who had 51 wins in the regular season? Can't be the worst defensive player of all time at multiple positions. First base, right field, center field, left field. You name it, you're probably bad at it. And then you can't go 1 for 89 with 78 strikeouts. And I'm not exaggerating that, and still playing the big leagues.
This is Sam's Beantown Beat.
Welcome everybody to episode number 2 of Sam's Beantown Beat. I apologize that I did not do an episode last week. Well, I technically did, but I deleted it, okay? So this is episode number 2 of Sam's Beantown Beat. Thank you to everybody who are tuning in live, who are listening in on my YouTube channel, and for those who are listening on Spotify, welcome everybody to the podcast. Well, today, I'm going to recap the past 2 weeks, but first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for all the feedback and support and love that episode number 1 of the podcast got. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me, that fact that everybody wants to listen in and enjoy the podcast, and I'll continue to do it even when I go to college. It'll be coming out every single Monday, 3 p.m., Spotify, YouTube, and so that is where it's going to be for now. I'm looking to expand to Pandora in the next few weeks, but it definitely will be on Spotify and YouTube, guaranteed. The past couple weeks for me have been pretty quiet, but also crazy at the same time. As you guys know, I'm going to college in a couple weeks, and I'm just, starting to get things together, packing, kind of starting to, getting things that I'm going to need for my dorm room, and, just kind of starting to get everything together. And the best part about this adventure, at least for college for me, is going to be that I'm going to have a roommate for college who is in sports broadcasting for me, with me, and he understands the grind of content. With Grant from the Power Skate podcast on YouTube, we're gonna be roommates together. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait for that part. The nerve-wracking thing is I'm gonna be far from home, like not crazy far, but I'm gonna be far enough to kind of make me go, okay, well. That's a little far from me, because I didn't really do, like, a lot of sleepovers as a kid. If they did have a sleepover, they usually came to my house. It's just how I was. I kind of got homesick, and I wonder how I'm going to do in college. But I think I'll be all right. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so today we're just going to discuss everything Boston sports, my concerns with the Patriots out of training camp, took a look at the Celtics schedule. The Red Sox are making strides of improvement, but not enough to kind of make me say that they might be a team to get back in the fight for the playoffs. And the Bruins did a thing like 2 weeks ago and then went quiet afterwards. Well, we'll see how this goes here. Well, the first piece of news I want to talk about tonight is, of course, as of right now, it is currently 12:36 in the morning of the day you're watching this. So if it's on Monday, August 22nd, that this podcast comes out, I'm recording it at 12:36 in the morning on Monday, August 22nd. So Albert Pujols is currently at 692 career home runs. He is 8 home runs away from 700, and all of baseball fans, I'm going to turn this a little bit this way, all of baseball fans want him to get to 700 career home runs. He is 4 home runs away from tying for 4th all-time behind A-Rod. So we need him to get to at least 697, if not 700 would be great. He's been on a tear recently, too. So cheering for Albert Pujols to get to big 700. That obviously would be an amazing milestone. Since the last time I did an actual podcast, the NBA schedule came out. Bergeron, Krejci, and Zacha got signed, and much more. So let's get into it. Let's discuss the Bruins first. So the Bruins announced a trio of signings about the day of the podcast when the first episode came out. So it was on Monday the 8th. They announced that Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, and Pavel Zacha had all been signed to one-year contracts. Bergeron's worth $1.5 million, Krejci's worth $1 million, and Zacha's worth $3.5 million. Now, as much as those signings are huge for the team, this begs the question, this makes me ask the question, so what now? So you're 2.25 over the cap. You need to figure out how to clear that cap space. You also need to figure out how you're going to re-sign David Pastrnak going into next season. And going into the 23-24 season when that contract would kick in. So this is the last year of his deal, so you got to figure out the details on that. So it makes me ask the question there. I have so many questions of what are you going to do with Pastrnak? Are you going to clear some cap space? Are you going to clear some dead weight? Is it time you move on from Mike Riley or Matt Grzelcyk? It's a good option to get underneath the cap for now and then figure out later. That's definitely something to consider. You got to look at your roster. Marchand and McAvoy aren't going to be there to start the season. Although, Marchand was at that wedding in Italy, and he's saying he has a hip injury. His hips look pretty good when he was, dancing on the dance floor at Tuukka Rask's wedding in Italy. He was getting down, and the hips look good, so if he's dancing like that, then it gives me hope that he may be ready for the start of the season. McAvoy, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. I feel like Charlie's going to be, maybe not quite December, but I think we might see him after Thanksgiving. We might see him back. But you got to think who steps up. So Carlo is going to be your top D-man for the first 6 weeks of the season. Clifton's going to have to step up. I'd imagine somebody from Providence on the right side comes up. I don't want to see two lefties on a third D pair. I do not like seeing that. Ever. So I'd imagine, Tyler Lewington might come up. Or, those guys. Like somebody from Providence giving an NHL experience, Or Wolf, maybe, give him a shot. But I would suggest Tyler Lewington because he's already got a little scratch in the league. He played a couple of games for us last season, and he actually did pretty well. So wouldn't mind seeing him again. Right, he's on the team, right? Yeah, Tyler Lewington's in Providence, I believe. So, Tyler Lewington. Yeah, he's a UFA. If the Bruins re-sign him, then I say go for it. You got to look at I'm looking down at the defense in Providence. You have options. You could go Nick Wolf. You could go Ryan Mast. You can go Victor Berglund, who I've heard a lot of good things about. Hey, here's a guy who has NHL experience, and Connor Carrick, one of the guys they signed on free agency day. I'd love to see AJ Greer get a shot. I've heard rumors the Bruins want to trade Craig Smith, and if they are going to go through and trade with Craig Smith, I would love to see Fabian Lysell come up to the third line and play with Zacha and Coyle if they are going to move Craig Smith. It's all hearsay. Apparently, a couple of reports are saying that they want to move him. I wouldn't necessarily know why. Speaking of, there are way more options to move than Smith. I think Craig Smith was okay last season, didn't produce as much, but he still had a decent year, didn't deserve to be traded for it. I think it's definitely something that the Bruins need to reconsider. Maybe it's time to move on from Mike Riley. Just a thought, maybe. Or Matt Grzelcyk. I don't know. But if I'm looking at this core from Providence side, you got John Beecher, Lysell, McLaughlin, Stanika, Greer, Locko. I'm not concerned with our future when it comes to your forwards. Our defensemen, I'm kind of concerned about seeing, the only NHL experienced defenseman that the Bruins have two is Jack Ashawn and Connor Carrick. That's kind of concerning, but to be honest, I think we'll be okay. We'll be all right. But the Bruins have 5 left-handed defensemen and 3 right-handed defensemen on the NHL roster. That's a problem because that is a problem because the Bruins desperately need right-handed shots. You got McAvoy, Carlo, and Clifton. Only 3 on your roster. You're going to be losing one, right? On your left side, you got Lindholm, Grzelcyk, Forbort, Riley, Zaboral, and I've never liked of having all the same shot on one side, on the same line. I don't like the idea of having 2 lefties or 2 righties on a D pair, or 3 lefties or 3 righties on a forward line. I don't like that. I feel like it would take away opportunities for a one-timer, and I feel like that is kind of defeats the purpose. I feel like that is kind of stupid. So I think the Bruins need to figure that out. If you're not going to have McAvoy for the first 6 weeks of the year, that's something I would love to consider. If I were Sweeney and Neely and Jim Montgomery, Bruins' new coach, who is going to be your right-handed third defenseman when the season starts? Is it going to be a lefty, or is it going to be somebody from Providence? I suggest somebody from Providence, just to be sure we have some size we have a right-handed defenseman. So I suggest, again, Connor Carrick or Victor Berglund, your choice. Or if you re-sign Tyler Lewington, him. But that's my suggestion. So the Bruins schedule. The Bruins schedule looks fun to look at. Let's take a look at the Bruins schedule right now. I just want to go through and see. There's nothing too crazy here. Nothing too surprising. Their season starts on October 12th. They'll be playing the Washington Capitals from the Capital One Arena. Let's take a look at the big games. So you have the Winter Classic this year, which falls on January 2nd this year, and I know why. It's because they don't want to compete with football. That's it. They don't want to compete with football, and I understand that, and I get why they wouldn't want to compete with football. So it is what it is. It's on Monday, January 2nd, 2 o'clock at Fenway Park. That's a good game to have. If I go back in time, there's a stretch in November and December that just makes me say, ugh. You play Tampa on the 21st of December, November, 21st of November, then the Florida on 23rd of November, then Carolina on the 25th of November, the Black Friday game, and then you have Thanksgiving weekend off, and then you have Tampa again on the 29th, and then you play Colorado on December 3rd, then Vegas on December 5th, you travel to Colorado December 7th, you play Arizona December 9th, and Vegas December 11th. Good God almighty, that's a 2 or 3 week stretch that the Bruins are not guaranteed to win one of those games. That is brutal from the league. Besides Arizona, the Bruins should dominate Arizona. But other than that, that is brutal. Absolutely brutal. You hope you have McAvoy and Marchand back by then. God, that makes me scared for that stretch. Oh, God. Give me a break. Huh. Oh, Lord. Well, moving on to the Red Sox, who are 60-62. They are making strides for improvement. Yeah, making strides for improvement, and their bullpen is killing them. Tonight, I just streamed the Little League Classic from Williamsport. It was the Red Sox and the Orioles. And the Red Sox and Orioles, they had a boring game until like the 7th or 8th inning. Red Sox tied the game with a home run from Franchy Cordero, 2-2. And then the bullpen comes in the bottom of the 8th and completely blows it up. So you started with Matt Barnes, who only got through one out in the 8th inning. He had 2/3 of an inning done. And then we got to the bottom of the 8th inning. First runner got on, and then the first runner got on, and then pulled Barnes, brought in John Schreiber, who I thought would have been a safe bet. Nope, I was completely wrong. Hits the first batter on the first pitch. That's right, on the first pitch, and then the second pitch, the second at bat, he walks him. So you load the bases for a guy named Jorge Mateo, who had a decent start in the majors. This is his rookie year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then clears the bases. You hang a fastball down the middle. And he crushes it down the left field line, clears the bases. It's 5-2 Baltimore. Simple. That happens. But that's John Schreiber. He's supposed to be one of your trustable bullpen pitchers. And instead, he blows it up. It was a tie game. Cordero tied it, and they blew it up. And then Bogart's homer in the ninth inning, which was nice. But then after that, 1, 2, 3 for Devers, Martinez, and Arroyo, and that's the ball game. So, the bullpen has its issues. The starting pitching is getting better. The offense is getting better. Just the bullpen is brutal. And the offense is kind of inconsistent. Like, 10 runs to 4 runs to 3. Like, it just, yeah. But, hold on, my friend's texting me. Recording the podcast. I'll text you after. Or tomorrow. Yeah, but the defense kills me. Not the defense, the bullpen kills me. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Red Sox need to make some improvements. They need to turn it around. Their bullpen needs to be better. Needs to be better. You want to be a contender? You got to have a consistent offense who shows up every single night. You got to have a bullpen. You got to have a starting 5, a solidified starting 5 rotation. You got to have a bullpen who can back you up and get you out of situations. You have 1.5 of those. Your starting 5's getting better. Your starting rotation's getting better. Your offense is getting better, still a little inconsistent. But your bullpen is supposed to be your backbone. And instead, it's your Achilles heel. Like, that is what this team has turned into, and it's just one thing after another, injury after injury, and you're starting to get players back, and it's just like, it's kind of what's going on. But the Red Sox, they need to turn it around. I know they're running out of time, guys. 40 games to go in this season as of the recording of this podcast. 40 games to go. I mean, hey, if the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be too mad about it, because we probably get eliminated anyway in the first round. And if the Blue Jays make it, go Jays. Because they're my second team. And they deserve a ring, so. Because screw the Yankees and screw the Astros. No, it's TV 14. Fuck the Yankees and fuck the Astros. Alright, TV 14, E for explicit. It said at the freaking start of the podcast. I can cuss on this. I forgot about that. Yeah, fuck them. Alright, that's the only 2 teams I genuinely hate. Everybody else that I say I hate, I don't actually hate you. Like the Rays, I don't hate you. Alright? I'm not a big fan of you, but I don't hate you. Toronto, I like you guys. Baltimore, whatever. And then Houston, F them. I don't hate any other team in this league. The Dodgers can kiss my ass. That's my thought on that. I forgot I can cuss on this podcast. I forgot about the TV 14 rating. Oops. Gosh. I mean, hey, you know what's been nice? Kike Hernandez is back, and he's been pretty good since he came back in the Pirates series. He's actually been making strides and making better choices at the plate. He had a home run on Saturday, which was nice against Baltimore. Very nice to hear. Had an RBI single tonight, or yesterday, when you're seeing this yesterday. It's good that they're going into a series against Toronto. That's a crucial series. You got to gain some ground. You got to win 2 out of 3 at least in that series. Every series is must win now if you want to make the playoffs, because Red Sox lost 2 or 3 to Baltimore, and that can't happen. Cannot happen. So, yes, you got to look at your offense. You got to say, hey, okay, all right, well, you got to look up and down who is going to be producing. Okay? If the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be super mad about it because you don't have a catcher. Because no offense to Kevin Plawecki, he's okay he's okay behind the plate, but at the plate he sucks. And you traded Christian Vazquez, which to this day still makes 0 sense to me. I'll never understand why we traded him. And I hope he resigns in the offseason. I hope he comes back. I really hope he does. And fills in the catcher void. So he and Plawecki can be good. Or if Plawecki goes, he and McGuire can be good. Because I know Reese McGuire's all right. I know he's not the best, but he's not bad either by any means. So. And also, figure out your outfielding situation. Because if the main priority is to sign Devers. That's the main priority. But to me, when Devers signs, your priority turns. So if Xander walks, which I think he will. I don't think the Red Sox are going to pay Xander. I don't think they will. He's not worth what he wants. He wants $100 million. You can go get that anywhere. Unfortunately, guys, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Xander Bogaerts, with 10 home runs, does not deserve $100 million. I don't care how good of a shortstop he is. I don't care if he's a multi-time All-Star. Guys, 10 home runs? What happened from last year to this year? Having 23 last year, that's worth $100 million. 10? And it's August 22nd? 50 RBIs? He and JD Martinez want big money? Give me a break. Give me a freaking break. God, don't even get me started on Martinez. I mean, he's good. He's getting better. He's getting back into his groove, but still, he's not worth the money he wants. So, let him walk. Let Bogaerts walk and figure it out. Get Devers signed. Move Story to short. Put Kike at second, and then figure out who's going to play center field. It's not Duran. I don't want to ever see him on the major leagues. I don't want to see him in the majors again. Okay? Not until he actually knows how to play defense and improves from the plate. He's got to be better. He's turning into Jackie Bradley Jr., but without good defense. Okay? And Cordero, I don't want to see him. Okay? I don't like him. All right? He homered tonight, but I still don't like him. Strikes out way too much of the plate. You know who I want to see in the outfield next year? I want to see Verdugo in left. I want to see Pham in center field if he comes back, which I hope he does. And he's actually been good. And Rob Refsnyder in right field. That's who I want to see. Because we stupidly traded, Hunter Renfroe for Jackie Bradley Jr. And look where he is now, playing for Toronto. So, interesting. I hope the Red Sox figure it out. I hope the Red Sox commit to Refsnyder and give Duran some more development time and teach him some defense, because all those errors he's been making simply can't happen. He's got to get better at the plate. Has to get better. Cordero should be designated for assignment, in my personal opinion. I don't like him. He strikes out way too much of the plate, and he's not a first baseman or an outfielder whatsoever. Like I said in the intro of this podcast, when I'm going off about first base, left field, center field, right field, you know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about Franchy Cordero. That's who I was talking about. So, that's that. God. Anyway, Moving on, let's talk about the Celtics. All right, the Boston Celtics, their NBA schedules got released the other day, and I've noticed some big games. Like Celtics have the first game of the NBA season, as they'll be playing host to the Philadelphia 76ers on October 18th. And then they're going to be having a rematch with the Miami Heat from the Eastern Conference Finals. That should be something I would really want to pay attention to. I want to see how the Celtics do with Malcolm Brogdon. That's something I want to see. I want to see how Brogdon looks. That's something I want to see. And then you got some big games here, like, you play the Mavericks on the 23rd of November. That's a pretty big game right there if I've ever seen one. You play the Heat again on the 30th. And then you play Christmas Day. You're playing the Bucks on Christmas Day at the Garden, 5 o'clock at TD. That's a big game. The Christmas Day schedule for the NBA actually looks pretty good. Looks very, very good. That's a day full of basketball right there on a Sunday. You got Sixers and Knicks, Lakers and Mavericks, Celtics and Bucks, Grizzlies and Warriors, and Suns and Nuggets. That's five pretty good games. Sixers and Knicks might be lackluster, but other than that might be a really good schedule. But the problem is, you're going up against the NFL. Now, they're putting games on Saturday and Sunday. They're putting majority of their games on Saturday. Like the Patriots game, for example, is going to be on Christmas Eve. They're playing the Bengals. But you have a couple games that you're competing with on Christmas Day. Packers and Dolphins, Broncos and Rams, and Bucks and Cardinals on Christmas Day. And then on the day after, it's Chargers and Colts for Monday Night Football. That's a pretty decent competition. I mean, I'd probably tune into both, to be honest. Tune into the football, and then also tune into like I turn on the Broncos, Rams, and the Patriots, and the Celtics and Bucks back and forth. Absolutely, I tune into that for sure. I mean, that would be a no-brainer at that point. But back to the Celtics schedule. The Celtics have a pretty good schedule if I look up and down. I mean, you play the Warriors January 19th and on December 10th. That's a game you want to pay attention to. That's something I would want to pay attention to if I'm the Celtics. Prepare for the Warriors. Get that revenge from this past summer when you guys lost, okay? It killed me when y'all lost. It killed a lot of people. My friend Andrew was so upset when the Celtics lost. So upset. Rightfully so. He's a diehard Celtics fan. He knows more about the Celtics than he knows about any other team that he cheers for. He loves the Celtics. He was devastated. I was upset. I wasn't like crying my eyes out, but I was still upset. I was like, oh, damn, I was disappointed. He was devastated. You play the Lakers 2 times in December and January. You play them December 13th, and you also play them January 30th or 28th. I'm sorry, I can't read. December 10th and January 28th. That's a pretty good time, and your last game's on Sunday the 9th, April 9th against the Hawks. If you look down their schedule, they don't have crazy bad road trips. Like, you have your West Coast trip, and that's expected. You're supposed to have the West Coast trip. That's something that's expected. You're supposed to have that, but it's not too bad. Comparatively to the Bruins schedule, if you look at the Bruins schedule, that's a nightmare in itself. That is a freaking nightmare. I don't even want to pay attention to the Celtics schedule. Good God Almighty. That's a nightmare. But that's, as people say, it's the way of the road, because it's how it is, right? I was paying attention to my college academic schedule, and I actually figured out for the Bruins that I can stream games from as early as January 13th to January 16th. It's a month of games right there that I'm going to be around for. That's pretty damn good. Definitely going to be home by December 15th, and I will definitely be home until January 17th for Christmas break. That's pretty good. Okay? And you got to think, I'm going to be coming home on a lot of long weekends, so I might be able to stream during long weekends too. So I'm not completely going away when I'm from streaming NHL or Bruins games. Just going to be not as often. But I am figuring out a different way. I'm going to discuss it with Grant on how to react to Bruins games. You guys know my opinions on every game. I'm going to discuss it with Grant, and I think he'll be on board. So it's not going to be a live stream. Don't freak out. But it's going to be something a little bit different, and I feel like it could be good. So there's that. So that's that. But yeah, the Celtics have some promise. They gotta prove themselves. They gotta get their shit together. You know, the addition of Malcolm Brogdon's great, but there's still that Durant trade still looming. Is it going to happen? That's a good question. And to be honest, I don't know if I have the answers, dude. I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of unanswered questions, let's talk about the New England Patriots, because that's a great transition. Patriots are very, very concerning. Injuries galore, and Mac Jones has absolutely sucked so far in training camp and in preseason. Awesome. Mac Jones has not had a good start in training camp, according to multiple reports, so much so that people are even saying his Week 1 QB job isn't even guaranteed. That's concerning. He let the stardom of year 1 get to his head. Now he's not even having a good year 2. Mac Jones, his stats were horrifying. He only threw 8 passes. He went 4 for 8 for 61 yards. And he got sacked once. He got sacked in there. But yet this guy named Bailey Zappi, 16 for 25 for 173 yards. Not too bad. Got sacked once, but only 9. Yeah, it's not terrible. Hoyer went 2 for 3. The injuries are going to kill you. Tyquan Thornton, some sort of collarbone shoulder injury. He's going to be out 8 weeks. I was so thrilled to see. I was raving about him, and he's hurt now, which sucks. Because I was really looking forward to seeing what he can do. I don't know. Man. The Patriots are concerning. Their backfield, their secondary looks concerning without J.C. Jackson or Jason McCourty or Malcolm Butler or Jawan Williams. That's a little concerning, because who is their secondary now? Justin Bethel, Miles Bryant, Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, the 3 Joneses, Jalen Mills. Yikes. The Patriots today cut a tight end. They cut Dalton Keene today, who was a tight end that we drafted in 2020 who didn't pan out. So we cut him. So that's concerning. So that's great. Awesome news. Yeah. Patriots are kind of in a little bit of a downward spiral right now, and I'm kind of concerned about their future, about this season. I have a lot of unanswered questions. Is their defense decent? Is their offense good? Is Mac up to speed? I don't know. Speaking of getting up to speed, did you guys hear about Tom Brady? Okay. What was going on? Why was he not in training camp? Why was he not in the preseason? That's a damn good question. What was he doing? Was he filming a movie? Right? Was he filming a movie, or He was gone for personal reasons. People said he could be re-retiring. People said he could be... What the hell did I also hear? He might be filming a movie. Or people are saying that he was on The Masked Singer on Fox. Yes, The Masked Singer. Or The Masked Dancer. Oh, God. Or maybe there was the vacation that he scheduled when he first retired, and now when he came back, he couldn't cancel it, or whatever the case was. So, I don't know. It's relevant because Tom Brady played here for 20 years. That's why I'm talking about it. But it's definitely concerning to hear that Brady can just walk away. It kind of sounds like double standards, you know? Or maybe was it because he was hiding because of all the Dolphins talk about him talking to the Dolphins or whatever, which I still think that he's to blame for that. He's partially to blame, or whatever the case is. Whatever happened, it's over now, so we don't have to worry about it, and we don't have to talk about it. So Brady's back very shortly. Whatever the reason was, if I damn hear that he was on the if I hear that he was on The Masked Singer, I'm gonna cry. For sure. And not for the reasons you think. Not because of happiness. Oh, he was on The Masked Singer. Be like, he was on The Masked Singer. Oh, that's sad. It's terrifying. Oh, God. This dude. You know what, dude? I suggest one more year with Brady. This year. His final year. Let the Buccaneers develop the next guy. To develop the next quarterback. I'm serious. To let him develop the next quarterback. And then go make way more money than you made in the NFL and go be a commentator for Fox Sports. Because that was announced in April that he's going to be an announcer, a color guy for Fox Sports, a color commentator. Go do that. Go do that. You're going to make a shit ton of money. Go do that. Absolutely. 100% do that. Because that is going to be something that's going to be good for him because he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Let him go to Fox and be the main guy with Joe Davis or whoever the hell the main NFL guy is on Fox, because not Joe Buck anymore. He's over on Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman. So whoever the main NFL on Fox guy is, it's going to be him and Tom Brady. Talk about a mind of the game. Tom Brady has a mind like no other in football. I would love one day to have a sit-down interview with Tom Brady and just pick his brain about football. It'd be so cool. Especially me, who you guys know me. I'm more of a hockey guy. That's my forte. But football, I do love football. I love baseball, love hockey, love football. Basketball I like. It's not not my favorite sport in the world, but I do like basketball and I do like the Celtics. But football, hockey, baseball, I would love to sit down with Tom Brady and have a conversation with him. And not just because we're both Leos and our birthdays fall one day after another, because his birthday's the day after mine. That's nothing to do with anything. It's just the fact that, he is the greatest quarterback ever, and I do respect what he did for New England. I just don't like the way he walked out like that. It just didn't sit right with me. It didn't sit well with me. I don't know. But I do respect and admire him for what he did for the Patriots for 20 years. Obviously, I'd be selfish if I didn't respect and admire what he did and love that. But, yeah, so that's kind of, that's what I'm thinking. Those are my thoughts past 2 weeks. Patriots have looked concerning. They're 1-1 in the preseason as of now. They lost to the Giants but beat the Panthers. They play the Raiders on Friday. They're going to Vegas to play the Raiders, who are 3-0 in the preseason, including the Hall of Fame game. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how they do fare against them and seeing, Jarrett Stidham for the first time since he got traded. Also, major L alert. So Nikhil Harry, the guy who we traded for a 2024 7th round pick to Chicago, is now going to be out for the next next while. I think it's like 8 weeks for some injury that he's got. Glad we got rid of that. Because that would make 2 wide receivers that we'd have to deal with that are going to be out for 8 weeks. That would be a major, major L. Major L. Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody, for watching tonight's live stream. It's not a live stream, it's a podcast, for fuck's sake. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's podcast, or listening in live on Spotify. Jesus H. Christ. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the podcast on Spotify and on YouTube. Follow me on Spotify. The link, if you want to listen to the audio version, is down below in the description. Go check it out. It's Sam's Beantown Beat on Spotify. Also, make sure to go like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you turn on your post notifications as well, so you never miss when I upload a new podcast or go live on YouTube. Definitely be sure to go follow me on social media. It's on your screen right now. Instagram and TikTok at samsmith.yt. Make sure to go do that. Go follow me and like the podcast on Spotify. Would definitely be appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you need this is your number one place for being for everything and all things New England sports. So I'm keeping you up to beat on everything New England sports. Thank you so much for listening and watching the podcast today. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll be seeing you next week for episode number 3 of Sam's Beantown Beat. Thank you for listening, and have a good one. Bye! Thank you for listening or watching today's episode of Sam's Beantown Beat. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. Make sure to definitely stay in the know by following me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at samsmith.yt. Also, make sure to follow me on Spotify. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Sam's Beantown Beat.